So now we're doing waist to hip ratio. In order to do waist to hip ratio, first you want to go to the waist, and you go to the smallest part of the waist, measure around. Okay, I got 70.5. Then you go and do it one more time, just to make sure. And again, we got 70.5, so we won't have to do it again. Next, go around to the waist, or to the hips, the largest part. Go around. I got 100.5. Do it one more time. I got 100.5 again.
Oh!
Anatomical position. My hands are out to my side, palms forward. Here we're going to be describing superior. Way to describe it is the shoulder is superior to the hip. Now we have inferior. Way to describe that as an example is the knee is inferior to the hip. Now we have anterior. The patella is anterior to the popliteal space. And posterior, the glute is posterior to the ASIS. Now we have medial and lateral. An example of that is the nose is medial to the maxilla and the ear is lateral to the eyeball. Now we have proximal and distal. The elbow is proximal to the hand and the elbow is distal to the shoulder. Now we have superficial and deep. An example of that is the ribs are superficial to the heart and the lungs are deep to the ribs. Now we have anterior. The patella is anterior to the popliteal space. And posterior, the glute is posterior to the ASIS. Now we have the frontal, the transverse, and the sagittal planes. For the frontal plane, the body's going to be cut into anterior and posterior parts, which will look like this. For the sagittal plane, the body will be cut into left and right parts like this. And for the transverse plane, the body is going to be cut into superior and inferior parts. Now we have the mediolateral axis, which is going to be perpendicular to the sagittal axis, like this. Now we have the anterior-posterior axis, which is going to be perpendicular to the frontal axis, like this. Now we have the superior-inferior axis, which is going to be perpendicular to the transverse plane, like this. Now we have the center of mass, which is going to be like the center of gravity. My center of gravity is probably in this area. Now we have the movements of the sagittal plane, the first being flexion. Flexion of the elbow would be like this. Another movement of the sagittal plane is dorsiflexion. Dorsiflexion is going to be where the ankle, and it's going to be like this. There's also plantar flexion with the ankle. Plantar flexion is like putting your foot on the pedal like this. Another movement of the sagittal plane is extension. You can extend your elbow, and then after extension, you can go into hyperextension like this. Now we have movements of the frontal plane. The first one is abduction, which is going to be like this or like this. Then we have adduction, which is bringing it towards the body. We also have elevation of the scapula, which is like this. Depression of the scapula, which is like this. Inversion and eversion. Inversion is going to be going like this. Eversion like this. We also have lateral flexion. You have ulnar and radial deviation. Ulnar deviation is going to be like this, and then radial deviation is going to be like this. Now we have movements of the transverse plane. We have rotation to the left, rotation to the right. We have protraction and retraction. We have internal rotation as well as external rotation. We also have pronation as well as supination. Now we have movements in multiple planes. The first is circumduction. Circumduction is going to be like this. You can do it with your arm, you can do it with your leg. There's also pronation and supination of the ankles. Pronation of the ankles is going to be like this on the outside of your foot, while supination is going to be like this on the inside of your foot. Now we're going to do a closed skill. For the closed skill that I'm doing, it's going to be a softball pitcher. First of all, I'm not a pitcher, so this is not going to be completely accurate on what happens, but if I had a ball and I was pitching, I would go like this and then pitch. Now we have open skill, which my example is going to be fielding a ground ball. It's going to go something like this. Now we have a discrete skill, which is going to be like throwing. It's going to be this. For my continuous skill, I'm going to skip. It's going to go like this. My serial skill is going to be turn it over play. Pretend I'm on second. I'm going to receive the ball. Now for simple and complex kinetic chains. My simple example for my simple chain is the foot. An example for my complex chain is going to be the back. Now we have rectilinear translation and curvilinear translation. For rectilinear translation, it would be just me running in a straight line. And for curvilinear translation, it would be running not in a straight line. Now for closed and open kinetic chain, my closed kinetic chain example is going to be a standing calf raise, which is going to be like this. And my open kinetic chain is going to be a chest fly, kind of like this. Now we have rotation and general motion. For rotation, imagine that I had a bat and I was doing a swing. It would look like this. And for general motion is what most of the stuff that we do is in. So it's just going to be me walking or even running.